Excellent guys, welcome for tuning in again. Today we're going to look at a USB studio microphone. Not sure whether I would really call it a 100% studio microphone, but the brand is called TIE Studio, and to be precise we have the model TUR88. And this really nice USB microphone has 96 kilohertz and 24-bit recording resolution. And what we're going to do in just a second, as you can see in the navigation below, in part 2 we're going to do an unboxing, have a few close-up shots, look at the build quality, because I really have to say, not only does this box have quite some weight to it, probably because of the included microphone stand, but from just the appearance, having this box in my hand, I really think the build quality, the first impression, looks really nice. And honestly, I have never come across this TIE brand, studio brand before, so I'm really super curious to see how it sounds. Normally, I'm not like the big proponent of USB microphones. Usually I tend to go with the good old XLR microphones, because XLR, as you can see, is like this universal connector. You can connect these mics to all sorts of audio equipment, whether it's your mixer, whether it's a USB interface, or a custom preamp of your choice. So in essence, that's always something that I'm preaching to people that are new to podcasting or live streaming or creating maybe YouTube videos such as me. Then always on the one side you have these classic XLR microphones that are really super flexible when it comes to connecting them to various audio gear. But the downside obviously is you need a lot more stuff. I mean, as you can see here, my usual setup is like audio interface, mic, preamp, a bunch of cables. And that's why basically for a lot of people it's a totally desirable solution to just have the mic with a USB connector. Yes, it may not be as versatile as the good old XLR, but USB really makes your desk way less uncluttered. So I'm really impressed. I think the build quality looks really nice, big solid packaging. So why don't we just go ahead, jump right into part 2, the unboxing part. I show you a few close-up shots, and then in part 3, which at any point you can just skip ahead, we're going to do a listening test and compare the sound of this TUR88 microphone, USB microphone. So let's get rolling with the review of this mic. Let's get started. So guys, then let's have a closer look at this massive microphone from TIE Studios. It's really this super big box, and I'm super curious to see what's inside, because like if you see, it's like a really stylish design right here, and I'm kind of curious to see how this carries over to the microphone itself. So what do we find inside the box? Maybe increase the brightness here on the camera a little bit. Manual sticker, USB cable, and then right here, that seems to be the adapter. Like I told you, the mic comes with a microphone stand. Just in case you don't want to use the included microphone stand, I believe this silvery metal piece is the adapter so that you can put the USB microphone on a microphone stand of your choice. Let's dig a little bit deeper and look at the microphone itself. And guys, as you can see, this thing is huge. It's a really big microphone, holy crap. I hope you can see this nicely. Maybe put the box a little bit to the side right here. From all I can see, even the knobs are made out of metal. You can control the sensitivity here on the back. If you flip this around, you can see this USB connector. This headphone output you supposedly can use to, if you want to record, let's say, vocals, you're a singer, then you can listen to your own voice right here. Some voiceover artists, if you do voiceovers, they might not recommend that, but that's a personal preference of choice. I'm curious whether this is going to illuminate if we plug in the USB. So let's look at the front right here. That was also one thing I noticed. It seems to have like some digital display. So we're going to check this out in a second as well. Maybe I shoot some B-roll and show you this when this is plugged in. Overall, really massive microphone, padded microphone stand. Just to give you a little bit of a size comparison, that's about the size of a pack of cigarettes or an average credit card. So this mic is really, it's a big mic. So let's see how this looks when I connect this to the computer and talk right into it, whether it will enter the frame when I use my webcam. Because that's something I usually also noticed. Some mics will be in front of you when you use the webcam. Others will be a little bit more outside the picture. So let's try what kind of performance we get. Let's just get rolling and jump to part 3, the sound test part. I'm excited you're here. Let's get started. So guys, right now we jump to sound test part 3A. And as you can see here, there's a microphone, the USB microphone from TIE supports a total of 4 pickup patterns, and we're gonna do sound test part 3A, B, C, and D, and listen to each of these pickup patterns. Right now you're listening to figure 8 pickup pattern, which obviously my preference is always the Cardioid one, so I'm not sure how much I like this figure 8 pickup pattern, but nonetheless, quickly regarding the recording settings. If you're on the Mac, you probably know this menu here. If you're on the Windows, there's something equivalent in your system settings. Just go to the system settings under sound, and then you can also pick different recording settings. Obviously, I could have chosen higher settings. When I just connected the USB microphone, it was on 44.1 kilohertz 16-bit, so I increased it to 48 kilohertz 24-bit. Because that's a little bit nicer. I believe all the DVDs come with 48 kilohertz. And obviously if you have a higher bitrate, that also should improve the sound. So since you have listened already while I'm talking here to this figure 8 pickup pattern and how it sounds, why don't we just turn the knob on the back of this microphone? Maybe I can do a picture overlay here so that you can see that knob where you just turn, and then surprise, surprise, with the flip of a switch, we have to change to the Cardioid pickup pattern, still recording in 24-bit, 48 kilohertz. And guys, from my testing, I really think the pickup patterns sound somewhat different. Personally, I'm a big fan of the Cardioid pickup pattern because it just focuses more on your voice. And maybe you also know from my other microphones, this is what I'm usually using. Those are all for the most part Cardioid, because I think especially for beginners the Cardioid pickup pattern is easiest because it just focuses on your voice, as opposed to have, let's say, an omnidirectional pickup pattern that picks up the sound from all around. Maybe you can imagine you have like a computer on your desk, maybe the fans are running, then if you have an omnidirectional pickup pattern, you gotta be careful because it just picks up more sounds from your surrounding, and that's maybe not what you want in your podcast or live stream. You want is to focus on your voice, and that's what I like the Cardioid pickup patterns very much for. And why don't we just go ahead and jump to the omnidirectional pickup pattern, because I just talked about this and you will hear definitely a sound difference. So let's switch the switch again, and we already have jumped to sound test part 3C, the omnidirectional pickup pattern sound test. And what I like about the microphone is that both the volume control as well as the pickup pattern is visually displayed. I can show this to you here as well in the front of the microphone. So if I turn that dial up or down, the sensitivity changes, and also if I change the pickup pattern, that's also visible. So yeah guys, I think the omnidirectional pickup pattern doesn't sound as good as Cardioid. I like Cardioid more. And why don't we jump to the next, to sound test part 3C, and we'll test the stereo pickup pattern. So guys, right now we're listening to the stereo pickup pattern of the TIE USB microphone Pro, the model 88. And yeah guys, stereo sounds nice. I can go to the side and it should be on the one side. I go a little bit to the left and you should hear a little bit more from the left. So I think for my testing, what I found out is that these 3 pickup patterns, figure 8, Cardioid, and Omni, they seem, if you talk in there, it seems to be a mono signal that gets output by the microphone always, even if you record in stereo. that was when I was beginning to do make these screen recordings. Right now I was using this mic, and obviously this other mic that I used to use is a mono mic. It cannot record in stereo. So when I recorded the screen recording like that in the beginning, I always did only hear myself on one speaker, which was really a little bit tricky to figure out, because then I had to get into the recording software and change some settings so that this mono mic would show up on both speakers. And the point that I want to make is with this USB mic, it seems to do it automatically. So if you use one of these settings, you don't have to switch your recording software to mono. It just puts it on both speakers automatically, which is kind of nice. I like that. And yeah, obviously it supports stereo as well, which I just demonstrated to you. So guys, this concludes the sound test. As you've seen, the microphone works really nice. It's sensitive. I put it on about 80% sensitivity. It also has a mute button on the front, which you can push. When the microphone is on, it's a blue indicator light. And if you turn it off, that by the push of a button, then it will be muted. Guys, now let's jump to part 4. The last part, the summary and conclusion part. I just gonna share with you my opinion, what I think of this microphone. Now guys, we jump to part 4. This concludes the review of the TIE USB desktop microphone. And personally, I really start to seeing the point why so many people gravitate towards beginners start to gravitate towards USB microphones, because it's just incredibly convenient. You just plug in the USB and you are up and running. However, while the USB cable is kind of pretty long, which yeah, that's a useful thing if you have a long USB cable. Certainly I had enough room to maneuver on my desk with this USB mic. The main thing that I kind of found, I can show you the pickup patterns again. Like I said, the dynamic one, the second one, I like the best. However, I personally, leaving these pickup patterns aside, I don't really need 4 pickup patterns, because I usually only work with Cardioid, and that does the job for me. So I'm not really understanding why do I need these 4 pickup patterns. And if you see here, the capsule, it says Electret, and not exactly clear whether that's the kind of choice that I would usually pick. I mean, granted, for the majority of people who are just starting out and they look for a simple USB mic for podcasting or live stream, that'd be probably totally sufficient. However, since I have used a bunch of other microphones in the past, I have a little bit more, how can I say, maybe higher demands. So personally, I also reviewed the Audio-Technica AT2020 in the past. I can show this to you here, and I found that sounded much better. But granted, if you go back to an XLR mic, yes, I think you can get a better quality. However, you need the mic, the XLR cable, as well as the interface. So it's at the end of the day, you're gonna come up with a higher price. But for me personally, that's usually how I like to work. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at some other USB mics as well, maybe some that are more pricey, to see whether I can find a USB mic that comes closer to the hardware that I usually use from a sound quality standpoint. So guys, overall, I still think this is an okay mic, but it would not be my personal choice. It's just my opinion, guys. That really varies from person to person, but I encourage you also to go to my channel and check out the Audio-Technica 2020 and then tell me what you think. Is that better or the other one better? What would you choose in your particular circumstance? Okay guys, I see you in the next video. Have fun with a microphone of your choice. I know it's a little bit overwhelming at times, because every manufacturer usually has so many different microphones and there's just so many products on the market. It's kind of get really overwhelming, and I think even in psychology they did some tests. The more choice a consumer has, the less likely he is to buy, which is kind of ironic if you think people in society it's always preached, oh yeah, you should have choice, you should have plenty of choice. But at the end of the day, it's sometimes too much choice can be counterproductive. But I digress. I see you in the next video, and as a subscriber, have fun with your new mic. All the best to you. Take care. And yeah guys, because you just watched my USB microphone review, you may also be interested to compare a USB microphone, for example, against a dynamic microphone that uses XLR, for example, connected to a Yamaha AG03 audio interface mixer. and you can find a video for that on my channel page as well if you look in the audio section. I'm really amazed how many people have already subscribed to my channel because of the useful content I provide here. You can subscribe right now as well. I see you in the next video. Take care.